sich auf die Tanzfläche bewegen. Und nun geht es los.
You are listening to Däs Bündesliga Show here on the Lock Betting Podcast. You can follow Lock Betting on X at Lock Betting X. That's at Lock Betting X. That's the account where we always post our monthly P&L. It's posted every month and then pinned to the top of the page. We will be swapping the month of September for the month of October shortly, which was the 125th month in a row of transparent and track profit. If you want to sign up for the additional plays, just head over to lockbetting.com or DM me on the Lock Betting X account that I just mentioned if you have any further questions before you sign up for the service. Moving on with this edition of Däs Bundesliga Show, we start with where we've been very successful over the last few weeks. That's Augsburg. Augsburg are on the road this afternoon to Cologne. They are the 23-10 underdogs to pick up a win here. It's 11-4 on the draw. And it's 21-20 here on Cologne, who are the home favourites. This is a game between two bottom half teams in Germany, yes, and won't be particularly interesting to many. But for us, we are very interested in the goals angle once again. Augsburg have been cashing locks for us regularly on the show. They take over the mantle from Bayer Leverkusen, who were a cash cow for us at the beginning of the season. And that's something that we can definitely revisit. We're not done with Bayer Leverkusen. I just noticed that there was a lot of value on Augsburg overs and began to ride the trend. Here for this game, the over 2.5 has become slightly more juiced, so the books are clocking on. We're only getting 4 to 6 minus 150, but it's still a very, very solid play given the data, and there's still value on that 4 to 6 minus 150 line. Augsburg's opponents today, Cologne, they don't have a clean sheet in any of the last 7. As for Augsburg, they don't have a clean sheet in any of the last 16, which is why they've been such a valuable asset. Over 2.5 goals has cashed in 7 of the last 8 games involving Cologne, and in 9 of the last 10 involving Augsburg, with both teams scoring in 8 of their last 10 matches. And with Augsburg conceding the first goal in 6 of their last 7, whilst their opponents have conceded the first goal in 4 of their last 5. In this particular fixture, Cologne have won 3 straight games, but they themselves have not kept a head-to-head clean sheet in any of the last 11. Augsburg haven't kept a clean sheet in any of the last 3. Over 2.5 goals has cashed in 4 of the last 5 meetings, and BTTS has also cashed in 4 of the last 5 meetings. So we have everything we need here for more goals, and therefore that 4 to 6 minus 150 line does offer up some significant value. You could pair it together as well with BTTS. BTTS and over 2.5 goals pays out at 10 to 11 minus 110. I don't understand how they arrived at that, but there is significant value on that selection, and that puts Augsburg and their overs into lock contention once again, given the price and the value we're being offered here for this one. Up next, we go back to our old friends, Bayer Leverkusen. They are travelling to Hoffenheim, and they are shy of minus 200 here at 4 to 7 to win the game on the road. It's 15-4 on the draw, and it's 17-4 here on Hoffenheim. While we could just simply pick this team on the money line, as I do think they'll win and I do think they'll stay in contention. I think they'll stay in contention with Bayern for a while. I think we're past the point where we can just say Leverkusen have made a good start to the season, because we are reaching close to the halfway point of the season. We are just 6 or 7 games away from saying we're halfway through the season, and Bayer Leverkusen are showing absolutely no signs of fading away. And they don't have that horrible Christmas period that they have in the EPL either. So there's no chance of fading away due to fixture congestion, because there will be a winter break in Germany and they'll be able to come back and reset. So you can't really make a real case for Leverkusen in Europe. They're flying. They look like they're comfortably going to win their Europa League group. So everything's going well for Bayer Leverkusen, including the fact they have no losses in any of the last 17 and have won 9 straight games going into this one. Their opponents have no clean sheet in any of the last 5, and Leverkusen have no clean sheet in any of the last 4. So we have significant data to add an over to this, with over 2.5 goals cashing in 8 of the last 10 involving Hoffenheim, and of course 10 of the last 10 involving Leverkusen. That data goes back even further than we only really look at a 10-game sample size, but I think we can go back 12 or 13 games in a row for Leverkusen for that statistic. BTTS has cashed in 8 of the last 10 involving Hoffenheim and in 5 of the last 6 involving Leverkusen. Leverkusen actually don't have a clean sheet in any of the last 4, so Hoffenheim are likely to make a contribution, and I'm talking they don't have a clean sheet in any of the last 4 in this fixture. So Hoffenheim are likely to make a contribution, as they always seem to, with BTTS cashing in 5 of the last 7, over 2.5 goals cashing in 6 of the last 7. So it looks like there'll be a game where there'll be goals. I also think it will be a game that Leverkusen win. I'm happy to tack on over 1.5 goals and make that official plays. It moves the play from 4-7 to 4-6 minus 150. Or if you feel more brave, you could add over 2.5. That gives you the price of, even money plus 100. Instead of taking Leverkusen at 4-7, if you're brave enough to tack on over 2.5 goals. Over 2.5 goals as an individual selection is very juiced at 1-3 minus 300, with BTTS at 2-5. The two selections together, BTTS and over 2.5 goals combined, with picking no winner in this game, is at 4-6 minus 150. So goals are definitely expected here, and I think adding over 2.5 goals is quite a safe way to go. Leverkusen over 2.5 at even money plus 100. I'll make that my main lean here for this game. Up next, we look at the game here between Mons and RB Leipzig, where Leipzig are the 7-10 favourites here on the road. It's 16-5 on the draw, and it's 4-1 here on Mons. RB Leipzig should be shorter than this, in my opinion. There is good value on them to win against the Mons side, who are just a dumpster fire at the moment. They have lost each of the last 3 home games, and they've suffered 6 defeats in 9 games this season. Leipzig, on the other hand, they're solid. They're in the Champions League spots as per expected. Even though they sold a lot of their key players in the summer, they've managed to rebuild and get right back on track. They've won 6 of their 9 games this season, including each of their last 3 away from home. So Mons for me are an automatic fade at the moment. They are bottom. They've lost 6 times already this season, and I think Leipzig are going to have just too much for them here in this one. The hosts have shipped 2.5 goals per home game this season, and Leipzig's combination of solid defending whilst averaging over 2 goals per game suggests there is absolutely solid value on taking them as the pick here on the money line at what I think is a generous price of 7-10 for this one. The final game we're going to cover is the El Clasico, as Dortmund are hosting Bayern Munich. So we're going to finish off our show by covering this late game on Saturday. Bayern are the 10-11 favourites to go to Dortmund and win. It's 10-3 on the draw, and it's 5-2 here on Dortmund. Undoubtedly the game of the week, probably the game of the week across all of Europe. And I think that Borussia Dortmund can get something here from the game. We're getting plus money on Borussia Dortmund to avoid a defeat here. We're getting 21-20, plus 105. If they do lose, it will be their first home league defeat since August 2022. They're unbeaten in the Bundesliga overall this season. They've got 3 1-0 wins across the last 4 games, which shows that they've added a little bit of steel this season, and they've been able to win when they've not been playing well. Not a characteristic you usually associate with Borussia Dortmund. Bayern Munich, they're reeling from their midweek defeat to a third-tier side, and they may be desperate for a bounce back here, but you can't automatically bounce back when you are looking shaky, and that was a very, very shaky result. And it's going to be difficult to have that result and then come back and win in Dortmund, who haven't lost at home since August 2022. Bayern Munich do usually win this fixture, and they're usually an automatic choice to win in Dortmund, whether it be home or away. And they're also an automatic off a bounce back, which makes this a very, very difficult fixture to navigate. But I'm going to take a shot here and say that Borussia Dortmund are able to avoid a defeat. They haven't suffered a defeat for 15 months at home, and I'm reluctant to take a Bayern Munich team who looks so poor in midweek. It would not surprise me to see Bayern winning it. This isn't going to be a lock on the show, but we obviously pick every game that we choose, and this one's been selected because it is not only probably the most important game in Germany, but maybe the most important game of the week. So it's here, it's an automatic, but I don't have a strong lean on it. But if I do have to pick, I'm going to take Borussia Dortmund to be able to maintain that undefeated record and take the value with that, the plus money, plus 105, 21-20 for Dortmund to avoid a defeat. Dortmund on the double chance market, Dortmund plus half a goal is my selection here for this one. Closing out with your lock on the show, plenty of choices on this show. I disregarded Bayer Leverkusen again this week. I think that the goals angle is too short, and I am waiting for this team to drop some points because they are massively overperforming expectations. As good as I thought they'd be this season, I did not think Bayer Leverkusen would be this good. So it brings it down to two selections, and I've decided to get off our Augsburg train, which is obviously risky, but I've done it for one reason, and that's because RB Leipzig are just way too big to win away to Mons. RB Leipzig should be much closer to minus 200 or even shorter, and I do think they'll pick up a win in this game away to Mons, despite the fact they have European distractions in midweek. They are by far the better team. They have solid away form coming into this, and Mons have absolutely no form coming into this game. They are bottom of the table after losing 6 times already this season. They come into this game off the back of losing each of their last 3 home games, whilst Leipzig, they've won 6 of 9 and they've won each of their last 3 on the road. They've solidly recovered from the losses of key players in the summer. They average 2.25 goals per game on the road this season, and they've already scored 25 times in this Bundesliga campaign, whilst the bottom side have conceded 3 times in each of their last 3 at home, while they've been struggling to find the back of the net themselves. So for me, this is the automatic choice as the lock. It goes ahead of the usual contenders, Augsburg overs and Bayer Leverkusen, and we settle for RB Leipzig as a lock on the money line at 7-10. That's it for me. Good luck with all your bets as always, and thanks for listening.